Do you feel pressure when you're like, okay, I'm not there yet?
No, I'm gonna be there. It's no if, it's when. Yo, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm sorry. I didn't want to ignore them. Yo, what's good? I actually just bought my first investment property. And I've been like saving money and putting it into it, you know? For a long time, music, it was like a therapeutic process for me. And now that I've been really successful in it after the Grammy and everything, it's kind of added a new layer of pressure.
Not only were you on Broadway several times, but you were Simba, like.
That's right, baby Simba.
Star of the show.
Baby Simba.
I appreciate you being here because this is like fully on my own. I have Alex as my videographer, but.
That's dope. What's up, Alex?
Yeah, it's just betting on myself. So every guest that I have, I appreciate you being here because it helps me build.
And honestly, it's mutually beneficial. I'm down. It's been a while since I walked through my city like this, so it's good.
Welcome.
It's good.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
So, Leon Thomas, welcome to Streetwalk.
What's up?
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, for real.
Yeah, and hopefully you don't have swamp ass or too sweaty.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right. You know, I changed just for this. You know what I mean? I'm ready for a marathon at this point. You know what I mean?
I'm already sweating. I'm like, get the sweat off. But yeah, thank you for being here.
Yo, thanks for having me.
I have a bunch of things I want to talk about, but
okay.
I think the best way for anyone watching who may not know you or does know you but doesn't realize the extent to your resume, I just want you to like give me even if it takes 10 minutes because you got so much, like I want to know. I know you've worked with like SZA, Drake, you're friends with Ariana Grande and have worked with her. You've been on Broadway. You were on Nickelodeon. You have your own music. You're an artist yourself.
Yeah.
What am I missing? That's my gist, but I would like.
Nah, that's it. Yeah, you got it.
But can you tell me, like, take those things and tell us, like, you were Simba in The Lion King,
I was Simba in The Lion King. It all started 42nd Street in Broadway, and listen, you know, Broadway was where I kind of found my voice and found the ability to act. I did Lion King, I did Carolina Change, and I did a Broadway play called Color Purple. And while I was doing Color Purple, which was produced by Oprah, by the way, so it was a real big deal, I got this movie called August Rush that happened to be shooting in the city. So I worked with Robin Williams.
The coolest thing.
Really amazing.
And I don't know, I haven't watched it in a long time, so I don't know like how much you were in it or not, but I remember
I was in there. Yeah.
You were like playing the guitar and singing.
Singing,
You were like a busker.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's right.
So good and talented at like how old?
I was 12 years old around that time. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So okay, and let's also not skip over the fact that not only were you on Broadway several times, but you were Simba, like.
That's right, baby Simba.
Star of the show.
Baby Simba. So that was a real cool experience, especially as my first ever performance or show. You know, that was like a really big deal for me, and it kind of let my parents and everybody who supported me at the time know that this could be potentially something really big, and it turned into just that.
Yes.
After all the Broadway stuff, Nickelodeon picked me up and gave me a development deal, a record deal, and the ability to be on one of their hugest shows, Victorious. So I met Ariana Grande. We did that for like 4 years.
Yeah, casual.
Casual, it was amazing. The show did really well. And then me and Ariana, we always talked about doing music backstage. So I ended up producing and writing some songs on her first album. And that kind of gave me the bug to start writing and producing for other big artists, as well as myself, of course. But
that is so cool.
It just let me know that there was like an actual business behind it that I could be involved with, that, you know, I owned. That was my own thing.
Yeah, totally.
And, you know, I grew that over the years. Ended up working with some of my favorite artists, from Drake to SZA, Wiz Khalifa, Ty Dolla $ign, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so I want to hear the specifics about like what you did for each of those artists, but first, so Broadway, this was your first gig? Like,
it was my first gig, my first audition, everything.
And
they
you just
kind of just taught me how to like, make it work.
What about like school auditions?
Nah, I was never in a school play, nothing. Like, this was it.
So how did you even learn about, or did your parents learn about this opportunity?
Like, my parents are like, my mom's she was a singer, and my stepdad was a session player and a guitarist for like Missy Elliott, like big artists and stuff like that. So I was around music, you know, My grandfather also was on Broadway for a long time.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had some of the best tutors in the game that, let me know when I was messing up.
So the family, like, this is not, your family wasn't a family that, like, was totally not in the know about the entertainment business.
No,
like,
no.
They knew some.
For the second Broadway play and the third Broadway play I did, like a family friend who I consider like my uncle was like the conductor, so like it wasn't so like, it just felt like I was just hanging out with the fam and just having fun. It was very low pressure. I never felt like super nervous before shows or anything. It was just like fun, That's like I guess you didn't stumble into it, but like it just sounds like it just was like normal for you. Yeah.
So you probably, like, were you ever nervous? Are you ever nervous? Are you ever scared?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the older you get, you start paying bills and, it's like, it just matters a lot more. But in those early days, nah, And I mean, even now, I feel like you got to understand how to place nerves in your mind. It's just excitement. It just means I care.
Yeah.
It means I want to have a good time out there.
That's true.
So when you know where to place it, it's not too bad.
Yeah. And do you remember that first audition? Like, what do you?
I don't remember anything about that time. I mean, life moves so fast after it. Like, I barely remember the audition itself. But one thing that sticks out in my head were like the rehearsals.
Oh, okay.
I just remember being in rooms with all these talented people and just seeing how focused everybody was. It kind of led me to be a real stickler in my rehearsals now as an artist.
Yeah.
I rehearse like 2 weeks out of the month, like I'm always rehearsing.
Damn, cool. I mean, you're the people you surround yourself with, that's what they say, like you're a reflection of the closest people to you,
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
So on that note, and I'll tell you, I touched base with two of my good friends who like were super like Nickelodeon, Disney Channel people. They were just like talking about how they used to, I guess, kind of watch your like friends videos that you were making like behind the scenes. Like,
for sure.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
That was my high school. You gotta understand, like I left 10th grade out here in Brooklyn to move to LA. And I didn't know anybody in LA. Like the only people I knew were like the cast, So, and a lot of us were transplants from New York. So, I don't know. Those were really like my actual friends, and we hung out a lot. And it was cool to have that high school experience, and other people that were going through the same thing I was at that time to kind of talk to about everything.
All like around the same age and stuff.
Exactly.
So, do you feel like the fact that many of you have been successful, like, if you hadn't been with them, do you feel like your path or your success, your mentality would have been different because you were kind of like all motivated and coming up together? Or
well, I mean, I owe a lot of my success to the show. I mean, it was a #1 TV show around the world, so it's kind of cool going to like places like Italy or Germany, and like there's kids and grown-ups now who know me based off of us growing up together, you know? But I think my drive was going to be there regardless if I did the show or not,
It does sound
I love
like
music, I love acting, I love performance, so none of that was going to change. But I definitely respect having that launching pad to help, help the process, get a little momentum going,
Yeah, and also like then you're collaborating with some of these people later on in life, and
absolutely. I mean, it's it's pretty tight to have a good friend by the name of Ariana Grande. She's no scrub. So it was fun to work and to build with her. She's a real musician too. Engineers herself, writes a lot of her own music. So it's just like kind of playing with somebody who genuinely knows the game.
And is it? I mean, I'm sure it's not weird for you, but like, I guess the question would be, do you have perspective for any big Ariana fans on like knowing her? I mean, she was obviously known then too, but knowing her then and then seeing her grow into now, like she's always been the same person, I'm guessing. Like
right. Yeah, nah, she's been a sweetheart from the jump, and I love that she never switched up on me. Like we always chop it up and hang when she has time. I think my perspective on her is just, I wish people had more empathy for the amount of change she had to go through in her life. It's not easy kind of living your life in a fishbowl, people poking at you,
and like hardly being able to go outside.
Exactly. Exactly. She deals with things that like I can only imagine, man.
Yeah.
It's real tough.
Yeah, it's like it's not normal. It's not like the way people
Nothing about it's normal.
Yeah.
But I feel like she was built for this, you know. I think we all were.
Yeah.
So as we grow and evolve, you know, I really respect the fact that she stayed human throughout it all.
Yeah. Cool. I like that. That's a nice point about like people having perspective. But so let's talk more about you.
Yeah. All right.
That's what we're here for. So as far as your like resume and the work you've done with other artists and for other artists, tell us like who you did what for. I know you've won a Grammy. Are you producing? Are you songwriting?
I'm mostly produce for a lot of the big artists I work with. I'm mostly on the production side, but I've written some amazing songs for some phenomenal artists as well. I feel like telling somebody's story is interesting. I mean, like with Kelani, I'm like a really good friend of hers. So like when we sit down and we talk about her life, we can turn that into a story. Sometimes when I'm dealing with an artist that I don't know that well, it's a little tough for me to just get up and write a song for him, you know?
That's honest.
So like production for me is more comfortable, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think I've heard you say that like songwriting wise, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of like better or prefer to just write your own, whether it's like story
I love writing my own story. I love the aspect of being able to just be free in that way. I mean, listen, for a long time, music was my getaway from having to do auditions and acting, you know? It was like a therapeutic process for me.
Yeah.
And now that I've been really successful in it after the Grammy and everything, it's kind of added a new layer of pressure. It's very similar to the acting space.
Yeah.
That it's sometimes comfortable and sometimes a little uncomfortable, but I don't know. I'm blessed regardless. You know, it's cool to work with some of the best artists in the world.
Yeah.
And
of course.
I do my best to be as malleable as I can, but artists are very demanding. Like, it's a tough gig.
What can you give me like some insight into what makes you say artists can be whatever tough or whatever you just said? Like, you don't have to give me a name or anything.
It's just like they're very particular, you know. When I'm working on my own artist music, I kind of get to be the one that's a little picky. But when I'm working for an artist, I almost like to equate it to being a private chef. And if they want steak that day, I gotta make some steak. You know, if they want spaghetti, like let me get the pasta out.
But if you don't have the hands for pasta that day, like is that where it kind of comes in? Where you're
that's where it's tough.
Yeah.
That's where it's tough, you know.
Yeah.
But to be completely honest, I've been doing this for a really long time. I'm about 12 years into doing this professionally. And it's amazing to have, I don't know, this amount of perspective. I've genuinely worked with artists from all kinds of genres, from gospel to hip hop to R&B to pop. So I feel like in most situations I can make whatever you want me to. The question is, do I feel like making that day?
Yeah. Totally. I don't do what you do, but I get what you're saying.
You gotta get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. I have not seen much about your home life, your life growing up. Like, of course, we know starting at like 12 or around then you started, you know, your kind of career. But can you give me a picture into like siblings, parents, closeness, like what it was like here and then LA?
My story in New York was very specific. You know, my parents are divorced, so my dad lived upstate New York in a place called Rockland County. Okay. So I would go visit him every weekend. And then my mom lived in Brooklyn, Park Slope. So that's such an amazing neighborhood. It's a real melting pot, you know, Black culture, Spanish culture, modern hipster culture, I'll even say, like, you know, like all the yoga spots and the coffee shops. It's like the epicenter of gentrification in Brooklyn. And then, you know, to be real, I feel like growing up in New York taught me a lot just about a love for multitudes of music, you know, even like growing up on my block, like I got introduced to a lot of rock bands pretty early on that like I probably wouldn't have been introduced to just from living there, you know? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and then siblings?
Siblings, I have a little sister.
Okay.
Beautiful soul. She was born out here in Brooklyn. And, you know, to have her around was beautiful. We're like 8 years apart, so we're not like super duper 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 tight. But that's really my dog. You know, she's a really amazing supporter. and just a good friend now that she's older too. She's 22 now, so.
Yeah, and the older you get, the more.
And like we're like getting a lot closer now, you know.
Yeah,
it's
like,
kind of cool.
Yeah, because I have a brother. I'm 30. Like
Word.
30, right?
30, yeah.
Yeah, so same age. I have a 15-year-old brother, so I understand the age.
You understand
difference.
where it's like, you know, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean actually, almost double your age gap with your sister. You know,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I get it, but it changes and evolves.
It changes and evolves, and it's been kind of cool now. Like she can come out with me, pop out.
Cool.
You know, like hangs at the studio. She's actually a really good singer too, so I'm looking forward to her dropping her own projects. I feel like the world's definitely gonna be surprised.
Does she want to?
I think she wants to, but I think she's also just finding her way. You know,
Yeah.
and one thing about my family, there's never any pressure to do any one thing. I feel like even my mom, like you would think it would be like stage mom vibes, but nah, she just whatever I wanted to do is what. You know, I ended up getting into.
That's
you know?
that's amazing. Supportive parents.
Yeah, just supportive. You know, we try to support where we can.
And do your parents get along?
Yeah. My parents definitely get along. You know, my mom and my stepdad, you know, they've been married for most of my life. You know.
Cool.
So
you
and it's
love
just
him?
beautiful to see. Oh, I love him. He's like, you know, he's my father as well.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But like, it's great to see their love of music be an amazing anchor for their relationship. And something I really hope to have at one point with my significant other. Because, I mean, they like sing together and perform.
Oh,
I mean, it's
that's
beautiful.
cool.
I mean, it's love in action. You know, we get to see it all the time.
Oh, you have good
Yeah.
examples in your life.
And healthy relationships, you know.
And so your parents can like be in the same room and like whatever. They're cool.
It's love.
I love that.
It's love and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, my biological father and my mom are pretty cool too. You know, they really co-parented very well.
That's what I meant.
They
Okay.
co-parented very well. You know, it was just good energy. I think every family goes through their things, but I respect that they always kept a really safe space around my evolution as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I like that. And speaking of good examples, what is your, with the disclaimer that of course this can change and like you grow and change whatever, but do you want to be married? What's your ideal partner?
Right.
What are the qualities that you want?
Yeah.
Do you want kids? Like what do you see for yourself?
Listen, you know, I'm 30 and these are questions I've been thinking about. You know, I've been trying to even answer them for myself. And to sit here and pretend like I got all the answers figured out for you today would be a lie. But I do know for a fact I do want to get married one day. And I mean, I spend most of my days writing love songs anyway. So it's like I fantasize about what that feels like and what that is all about. But I think it's very important to be honest about like when I'm ready to really settle down. I've been moving a lot recently, touring, and it's been tough to kind of keep relationships alive through the madness.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely possible, and I have a lot of homies who are in beautiful relationships in my position. So one day.
So eventually you want that. Do you want kids too?
Yeah, I want kids, all that. I feel like I'm gonna have some real talented kids one day, you know?
Yeah. So how many kids are we looking at? Would you prefer boys, girls, of course a healthy child?
You know, healthy boy and a girl would be real nice. If I had 2 boys, 2 girls, I ain't tripping, but I think 2 is my number.
Okay.
I saw how well that worked out for me and my sister.
Yeah.
I don't feel like my mom was ever too stressed having 2 kids.
Yeah.
I know people with 4 and I'm like, whew.
Too much?
You know, kudos to them, but it just seems like a lot of work, you know?
Yeah. And what do you look for in a partner? Or even just whether it could be someone now that you don't necessarily want to marry or whatever, but what are the qualities?
You know, I was talking, it's a super random, but I was talking to this really smart man. He's this, his name is Ido Benzino. He's a Jewish billionaire in LA, and I had some random meeting with him. And before we talked about this business deal I was trying to do, he asked me, what do I look for in a woman? And I was telling him, I want somebody really smart, you know? And he was like, well, that's pretty cool. But he was like, what you really should look for is somebody who's very kind and nice. And ever since I've like kind of switched that up, it's been a beautiful experience. I feel like the girls I date are usually very kind people. The kind of people who, you know, give money to a homeless person, care for their family. It shows in ways you wouldn't think about, you know? But like, I think that's like the main thing. I need somebody who's genuinely kind. Because peace, you can't pay enough money for that, you know?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think kindness, there will be a lot of issues prevented when you're with someone who's kind. Of course, there's compatibility, all that.
Listen, yeah, I mean, things happen, and I feel like disagreements are possible, but I feel like it's also possible to have healthy communication, you know? And I think that comes from the epicenter of who they are as a human being prior to even knowing you, you know? You both have to be ready to kind of even deal with those tough conversations.
Yeah, and they also say it's not two halves that come together, it's two wholes. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I actually have, but not in a long time, and I like that. I'm gonna use it more.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see who you end up with.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about business lessons. I mean, you're an artist, but you're also like so much more.
Right.
I've also heard you mention you've had financial lows and of course highs. Like, any insight, any advice, anything you can give us here?
Listen, so this is a good one because like when I first came into the industry, it was me, my mom, and this kind of shady business manager that we had from out here. And he didn't really handle my taxes very well. So when I was like 21, I had all of these back taxes I had to figure out.
Oh, that's scary.
And yeah, that was really tough. So that kind of gave me a big financial hit. And I had to build from scratch at a certain point while also being famous as fuck.
Oh my God, like, that's terrible.
Yeah, no, it was actually horrible. So, but it wasn't her fault or anything, but we just had to figure it out. Yeah, we had to figure it out. So one thing I will say is just really be mindful of the people who are on your team as you grow and evolve.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you know, I found a great team that's really been taking care of a lot of the nuanced details. But I also did a lot of reading myself from books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think Grow Rich, like, I don't know, just like finding ways to create passive income opportunities that kind of help the lows in the music industry and in the acting industry not feel as hard of a hit, you know? Because at any point you can go through a writer's strike, whatever, there can be a technological change that makes you make less money in the music industry. So you gotta have other sources to kind of balance that out.
Yeah, it's like different but similar to being an athlete. Like, I have friends who play professional sports, but they're like, some of them think about like, what am I doing outside of this? You know? I mean, you could be saving your money or investing it as you go, but like building outside, what's coming after, what's gonna, like you're saying, like passive income, so it's not just the one, whatever, acting or singing or whatever. Have you made any like investments in real estate or anything yet?
Yeah, I actually just bought my first investment property.
Nice,
and
congratulations.
I've been like saving money and putting it into it, you know?
Yeah.
Which has been really cool.
Where'd you invest?
I invested in Los Angeles. I won't say what area, just to keep my privacy together.
I probably wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah, but they might.
Yeah,
but I invested over there just so that I could genuinely get, you know, just something out of a lot of the work that I'm doing and to park my money, you know. LA taxes are pretty crazy. So it was nice to have that there, and I've been building as we go. I'm trying to make a guest house, make it a multi-family situation.
Cool, love it. Yeah.
Two rental sources, you know.
Yeah, and then you could just build, like, as you keep building wealth.
Exactly.
Do more and more.
Keep building, you know. I mean, I'm still growing, but I know for a fact that, you know, one day I'm really going to be a wealthy man, and I'm just thinking about things in a different way these days, you know. Yo, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm sorry. I didn't want to ignore them. Yo, what's good? My bad. I didn't want to just have them follow us in the traffic.
They were like, is it him? Is it him? That's cool. But anyway, if you were working with these artists that are like almost billionaires, you know, like, do you feel pressure when you're like, okay, I'm not there yet?
No, I'm gonna be there. The whole thing is, it's not like, it's no if, it's when. Like, it's when. And like, I've seen people who are amazingly rich, who are also super unhappy. And like, the whole thing for me is like wealth, you know, which comes from also being a healthy human being, you know what I'm saying, spiritually intact. Like, I wanna have a real good love life. And I think that balance is what I'm really searching for, more so than just like monetary gain. Yeah. 'Cause I think at the end of the process, sometimes I've seen people with hundreds of millions of dollars that they can access, but like, they have no one to call when shit gets tough. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or like when it gets real, like there's like, I don't know. Spiritually, they don't know what they're doing, you know?
Yeah. You sound like you do a really good job of taking lessons and being present and observing other people around you and life.
Student of the game.
Student of the universe.
I've been around some amazing human beings, people that have changed complete genres, you know, changed the fashion that we wear, like all of it, you know, musically, like, you know, it's just, but I've also noticed, like, as human beings, sometimes those people deal with a lot that I can learn from, you know? So I'm doing my best now to just figure that part out.
Yeah.
The internal, not to sound too hippy-dippy, but like I've been trying to get back into meditation, like trying to get back into my prayer cycle, like really praying as much as I can. I think it can be easy to kind of make the golden nugget of this industry your everything. And I want the life balance to work.
Yeah, and as you should, otherwise something crash and burns.
Right.
And there's no longevity.
Yeah.
And let's talk about there's no if, it's when.
Yeah.
Because I'm also a believer in manifestation.
Right.
Do you have any examples of how manifestation has manifested in your life?
You want to see something?
Yeah.
All right, so earlier this year, I won a Grammy. This has been on my phone. I mean, you probably can't see it.
As your background?
This has been on my background for a year and a half. And I don't know, I think it's like a cool way to manifest things.
Just seeing it every day?
Yeah, you check the time, somebody texts you, you just see it. It's there, you see it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes less like a crazy thing. It's just like something that's happening.
Yeah.
It's on the way.
Yeah.
And I know what that totem is. I know that, like, that's something that I want and it's gonna come my way, you know?
Okay, but what do you do in the moments when, or maybe you don't have these moments, but I feel like most of us humans do have moments where you're just like how, why, when, like where you're just maybe being impatient or like something, you got a few no's in a row.
I mean,
how
listen,
do you deal with
like,
that?
you know, it's okay to be impatient. It's okay to have feelings. I gotta just acknowledge how I'm feeling in the moment, get up and get to work. Like, most of the time, it's my fault.
Your fault?
Yeah, no cap.
Like,
you
in
know,
what sense?
most of the time when some bullshit's going down, it's usually me just not being on my path.
Yeah.
And there's ways to know, you know. It takes understanding that and taking, you know, having like accountability of like, okay, I could have done this better.
Yeah.
I could have listened to my gut. I could have really like maneuvered with the relationship better, you know. And I don't know. At a certain point, I've been in this industry a long time. I mean, we talked about my journey. That's a 20-year journey.
And you're only 30.
Yeah, but I've had a lot of no's. I've had a lot of why me kind of moments, and like, I don't know. I think after a certain point, you got to realize, you know, you got to get up and just get it done.
Do you want to say hi to these people? All right, I got a bunch.
All right, I appreciate y'all. Yo, God bless. That's kind of cool. I'm back home.
Yeah, and there's not even like many words. They just want the photo.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, I appreciate that.
And they're still following.
I appreciate that. We got a gang. You know what I'm saying? We got security now, you know what I'm saying?
But you're comfortable, you're fine.
I'm chilling, yo, I'm chilling.
Okay, so anyway, manifestation, any other examples in your life?
The Grammy was a big one that I don't know, I intentionally like put that together. You know, I used to, during the time when I was doing like a lot of the Drake stuff, I was still living in a guest house in like LA. It was a super small spot. But like I had a white wall right in front of my bed, and I decided to put up like all of these pictures of things that I wanted, from the house that I'm living in, to the car that I'm driving, to the Billboard #1 that I just got with Snooze. All of it came to fruition. And I used to wake up and just like see that like collage I had like every day as I went to, you know, make things happen. But it took time. Cool. It took time, but it's kind of cool to see that, like, even when I was trying to rush the process, like, it worked out, you know?
Yeah, that's so cool. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for inspiring me, because I just believe that you have to be reminded of all of these things, because it's all possible.
I mean, I don't know if there's like a lot behind it. I can just say that it worked for me, you know? Like, just seeing it sometimes helps the process as you chase it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard to like, I don't know, to really genuinely believe in yourself. I know it's kind of corny to say, but like at a certain point, yeah, I can do this. Like other people did it and I can do it too. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
However honest and open you're willing to be, what is a big high point in your life recently, and then whatever you're willing to share as far as a lower point or a struggle or something you're working on.
A big high point was buying my first property was like a huge thing I've always wanted to do. I always talked about it. I think a low was like I had a 3-year relationship, and like that breakup was really tough on me mentally. But I got up from it, you know, you just gotta figure it out. Yeah. But I gotta like also acknowledge the fact that was hard. It wasn't easy, you know?
Yeah, I send you good energy because breakups suck.
Yeah, you know, we all trying to find our person, trying to figure it out. But I mean, it made for some good music, I will say.
Yeah.
But you know, the life part did kind of suck.
Yeah, I totally understand that. So music or anything, what do you want to talk about? What's going on? Plug yourself.
Listen, I mean, I've been working on this album that I'm gonna put out this year for like probably 2 years now, simultaneously while I was dropping my first album, Electric Dusk. And it's called Mutt. And I've been working with some of my heroes from like Madlib to ASAP Rocky to Wale, Ty Dolla Sign's on there with me.
Congratulations.
I also found, thank you, I found some amazing musicians from Chicago. My boy Rob, he goes by Freaky Rob, and my boy D Phelps really helped me put the whole album together. And there's such a cohesive live energy to it all. And I want to bring that back in R&B. Like some of my favorite bands like Mint Condition, Ohio Players, Earth, Wind & Fire, like they played, you know? And I want to carry the torch for that for my generation.
As far as these collaborations that you're mentioning, if there's one that sticks out to you, how did you connect? How did you connect for the project? Any like little nugget of a story there?
Well, yeah, there's a song on the album called Feelings on Silent that I did. I did it in Italy. It was one of the coolest records I did because like I was really frustrated. I was at a writing camp for this huge artist. I won't say his name because I don't know, but
Wait, and for someone like me, a writing camp is like everyone trying to write for the artist?
Everybody's trying to write for the artist. They'll go to a destination, like we were in Florence, Italy.
Okay.
And I'll just say, I was out there working with Ye and Ty Dolla Sign for the Vultures project.
All right. And
I'm signed to Ty as an artist, so he flew me out there to just kind of catch a vibe with them and to kind of learn creatively. And I was just frustrated because I wanted to really get on a lot of records and it just wasn't really working out at first. So I went and I wrote this song called Feelings on Silent, and we were in this amazing estate. It's the Medici estate. Okay. That family was like one of the richest in the world, you know? And they have like this garden with all these sculptures, and I was just walking around with the instrumental, just writing lyrics. And when I came back to LA, I played it for Wale, and he immediately like just knew what to do. Went in the booth, knocked it out. It's probably one of my favorite records, you know?
That's so cool, and it's so wild that these are just like the people you work with. It just shows what your hard work and talent lead to.
Right, yeah. Life is a little surreal. Like nothing's, it's still like, I still have moments where I pinch myself and I'm like, man, this is like, yeah, that was my Wednesday. Like.
But how do you stay grounded?
Shit, I mean, I don't know. To be real, like I'm not like super duper wealthy or anything yet. I feel like I'm also really close to family, so I feel like they just kind of let me know when I'm being an asshole. Yeah. And then I think like, I don't know, I got good friends too. I feel like my friends don't sugarcoat shit either. Yeah. Like, everybody's cool.
And some of your friends are not famous, not big names?
No, not huge names, but I mean, they're cool.
Yeah.
I think I like to be around people who are driven, so I don't want to take anything away from them, but yeah, I feel like everybody's just figuring it out, you know?
Yeah.
I got a lot of creative friends though. They will let me know, like, all right, bro, that was whack, you know?
Yeah, well that's...
and I mean, that's good. That's what it's actually for, you know?
Totally.
You gotta have real people around you.
Do you have a skincare routine?
Shit, not really. I don't know, drink a lot of water.
Okay. Do you moisturize? Do you wash your face?
Yeah. I think it's real simple. I found these wipes, I don't even know what they're called. I went to this Asian lady, she did a facial one time, and she gave me these like face wipes. So I like cleaned my face with that. And then she told me because I have oily skin, I shouldn't have like a lot of like stuff on it. And ever since I stopped doing that, it's been working out.
So that's it?
Yeah, I'm actually running out and I have no idea like how to get more.
You gotta find her.
I can't find her address, it sucks.
Okay, so we'll see how the skin ends up looking soon.
We'll see. I'm hoping for the best, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pray on it.
Anyway, Leon, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, for real. I really appreciate this, you know what I'm saying?
I would hug you right now, but I'm sweaty.
Yo, me too. Okay.
So I'm not hugging you, but thank you so much.
Real pleasure. It's Leon Thomas, and I want you to go like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you're thinking. If you got any questions, write them below. Let's get it.